everything to say. Thank you so much. Pull it back. All right. I sincerely thank you, Mr. Chairman, my very good friend, Marlon, Mr. Music, my brother. We grew up together, seriously, get licks together. He really is my friend, a big star at 104. My friend Marlon, Mr. Music. Give him a big round of applause. That's my friend. Welcome. And I also want to thank my brother who came all the way from Endeavour, Dean and Singh. There is no sunshine hour without Dean and Singh. Yeah, that's the man. Brother from another mother. I also want to sincerely thank Pastor Quildan. He too is my brother. Before my mother died, she said to him, you better look after that boy. And he did. He really is my friend, my genuine friend. Give him a round of applause. I've known him all my life, literally all my life. And of course, Dr. Lena Burton-Wolf, she has been there for me through thick and thin. She was responsible for me winning an election in 2010 as a local government councillor, a very powerful woman in this community, my very good friend, Dr. Lena Burton-Wolf. And of course, the two beautiful sisters, we go to church together. The relatives of my campaign manager who I'll talk about in a little while. I want you to give them both a big round of applause. That's my people. And of course, right there is perhaps the youngest campaign manager in Trinidad and Tobago. Soon to be attorney at law, lecturer at the University of the West Indies. She lectures in pre-law and communication studies. Come, Chrissy, come. This is my friend. And I'll tell you something. Yeah, this is my friend. And I'll tell you something. When I was introduced to Crystal, I said that Crystal must get involved in the political process. She's brilliant, absolutely sharp. She loves people, very engaged and quiet. And I said there is no better campaign manager than I can ask for than Crystal Charles. A round of applause for Crystal. Yeah, she's my friend. And making this thing happen, of course, is the political leader, a giant in his own right. And I'm, of course, surrounded by friends and family and well-wishers. There are some people behind the scenes who are my handlers. They're doing such a fantastic job with me, and I thank them so much for coming on board to ensure that this campaign is a success and that we win this seat, bring it strong for the ILP. Give yourselves a round of applause. And to the back is my friend Dave Graham from Sangre Grande All-Stars. He was a forward, I was a point guard. I was always better than him in basketball. Give a round of applause. Yeah. Yeah, give him a hand. These are my friends. These are my friends. A big man in the fire services. I'm calling him out. Kennedy, my neighbor. Good man. Great man. Give him a round of applause. There are people here with interest in agriculture. Give them a big round of applause. The gentleman who brought the shaky thing, he is my friend on social media, and he has been encouraging me so much. Give him a round of applause, please. Certainly. I'm seeing people from the ILP office, my friend Samuel, my friends from Barbandale. I'm seeing Lam in the back. Lam is my very good friend from high school. Give Lam a round of applause. And my friend from Barbandale, Northeastern Settlement area. All right. And my two sweet cousins, actually three, yes, Tigana and Sophia and Sarah. Give a round of applause. These are my people now. People. My brother is also here. He hiding. My brother is also here. Andy, give Andy a big round of applause. That's my brother. Yeah, so I'm really thrilled and happy. I'm excited, and I want to thank sincerely the screening committee and my political leader for such a privilege to fight this seat on behalf of the Independent Liberal Party. Thank you so much, Mr. Warner. Thank you. Now you'll see that I walk with no notes because I'm in the mood to extempo. Yeah. And I just have to cut it very, very plain and straight with you tonight. This is Buckmeyer Hill, for those of you who don't know. Buckmeyer Hill. Just about 2 or 3 minutes drive away is the primary school that I attended, Sangre Grande SDA. The best schools. Yeah. Round of applause. Best primary schools because of that. And the church right there, that was my home church for many years. And if you head further east, I went to junior sec. Yeah. Yeah. That is my background. My roots are really in this community. And my first job, really, after working some hard 10 days with George and with Mr. Moore, busting some stone to build a drain by Riverside complex. Yes, after that was in Sangre Grande Hospital, still the best hospital in Trinidad and Tobago too. It absolutely is. And my trek, my sojourn, my journey started here, and I know that it would end here with the community that I love the most and with the community that began establishing who the Infrancer is. So if you're 15 years and under, let me introduce myself to you quickly. I played basketball for the most successful club in the history of basketball in Trinidad and Tobago under the absolutely best basketball coach there is, Oswald Davis and Casa Grande All-Star. Best played at the highest level in this community. In this community I worked. In this community I toiled. In this community I sacrificed. In this community I served. And fate had it that I traveled. And when I traveled, my sisters and my brothers, really, it was to get an education so as to allow me to come back to Sangre Grande, a place that I sincerely love and serve. And so I'm still studying, and my intention is, my sisters and my brothers, to gather as much as I can educationally and then inject it in this very sensitive community. Now you would have heard Pastor Quillen said that we are the poorest community in the country. And he's absolutely right. We lead the nation in high school dropouts. In Valencia, there's a high school where 53% of the students are not attending school. 53% are not attending school. Come a little closer into Sangre Grande, and 45% in secondary schools in Sangre Grande, students are not attending. Let me explain this thing to you. In every 100 students, 45 is not attending. Wow. That's alarming. It's a conversation, my sisters and my brothers, that you would not hear the others talking about, because they can't. They have not did the research, they have not done the analysis, and quite frankly, if I'm to interpret their involvement in the political process, it's really the same old, and it is designed, my sisters and my brothers, to just eat a food. So when I decided, yeah, that's a clapping point. So when I decided to study, and I decided to look into my chapter 1 in my dissertation, I'm using Guayco High School, right there, as my case study. I'm doing what is called a dissertation of practice. It's not a dissertation where you read and then shelf, but it's something that you read, internalize, do the analysis, and then create real policy. so as to affect the school in a positive way. And I'm using Waiko High and other schools within the region because we have a serious problem here. Students are preferring, Mr. Warner, students are preferring, at this time, where millions upon millions of dollars has been spent in education, children are preferring to go and work from 1 through 5, go and hustle, in opposed to sit in a classroom. And parents, perhaps none the wiser, have agreed simply because when the children work, they bring in money to assist the household. Now that is what exists in Togo Sangre Grande. A real issue that no one is talking about. On one side, we're hearing folks say they built how many schools, but for who to attend? Who's in the classroom? Now, I've set out, Mr. Warner and Dana, to fix that.
Yeah.
I've set out to fix that. Hence the reason why I've undertaken a particular course, a study, and by God's grace and with your help, come September 7th, we're fixing that. We're fixing that. Additionally, there's been a lot of talk, my sisters and my brothers, about an M-to-M phenomenon. I've heard it over and over and over again. But what is M-to-M? M-to-M is Matura to Maklot. What exists, and Mr. Warner, I hope that you copyright this, because last night I heard the Prime Minister borrowed the entire contribution from Ray Karanjit on sporting and giving individuals titles to their land. He borrowed the entire contribution. So, what is M-to-M? This is what the ILP proposes. And I'm going to give you a sneak peek preview into a local, help me. We want to get away from that word manifesto in this district, because that word is now so taboo that folks present 40 and 50-page documents, and as they are sent to power, the document is not even good for tissue.
Yeah.
We have a working paper in this region to take on one of the biggest tourism projects that this country has ever seen. The biggest. The biggest. My friends, in Togo Sangre Grande, M-to-M, now I'm going to forget the Hollis Reservoir and the millions of gallons of water that it produces on a daily basis. I'm not talking about that, and the howler monkeys and the wildlife and so on. I'm not talking about that. I'm not going to talk about the millions and millions of dollars that are hew out of National Quarry on a daily basis. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about something that is real, pristine, and available for use from September 7th. September 7th. So what exists in M-to-M? This year alone, Mr. Warner, over 25,000 turtles nested from Matura to Maklot. The biggest nesting site in the world. In the world. And for some reason, successive governments have slighted the economic potential of Maklot to Matura or Matura to Maklot, because nothing has been done, Dr. Wolf. Zero. And governments would have had the illusion that Carnival has more income earning potential than M-to-M. So in their narrow and shallow vision, they are of the view that there are more revelers in the world than environmentalists. and conservationists. Thank you, my friend. They are of the view, listen to me carefully, that Carnival can bring in more money to this country than this virgin piece of coastline from Matlock to Matura. And I want to suggest to you and say to you without fear of successful contradiction that I did the research. And the fact is, Mr. Warner, the fact is that more revenue can be had from Matlock to Matura. And guess who would be the beneficiaries of an initiative regarding this huge tourism project? Toco Sangre Grande. No longer will you be seeing Pastor Pilgrim as the poorest region in the country. And it is important for you to know that there are more birds in the interior, in San Souci and Montevideo and Big Bay and Matlock and Grand Riviere than there are at the Wildfowl Trust. The power we have fun there, hundreds. And I've spoken to an environmentalist. I did my homework, Mr. Warner. I've spoken to an environmentalist. His name is Pero. Am I right? Pero. He's German. Wonderful gentleman. You know what this guy is doing? What this guy is doing, guys? This guy has a hotel in Grand Riviere. And the hotel is made up of regular wood. One of the strangest things that I've ever seen in my life. And this guy is booked solid. 24 booked up. And you know why he's popular? Mouth to mouth. Mouth to mouth. The tourists are just saying, oh, let me see this place. When I went up there a couple of weeks ago, last week, I was with the landowners. An owner who owned the biggest estate, there over 500 tenants. And I was speaking with them and engaging them to find out how we can make this thing happen. And I saw tourists clearing up our beaches. So what's going on? These guys are serious environmentalists. Piece of paper, they pick it up. And they are concerned about the coast. And I want to suggest to you today that come September 7th, the ILP has a plan to drive unemployment all the way down. The Prime Minister is saying that there's 3% of that woman is lying. That's a lie. That is a lie. But we have a plan to drive unemployment all the way down using M to M. They call it Ecolodge. Is that what they call it, Ms. Bowman? Ecolodge. How do we empower 500 plus residents in Grand Riviere or from M to M to create these havens? And let me tell you, that's the safest space in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, M to M, just so you know. But how do we empower these residents to convert their green space into something that tourists are willing to go and stay by dinner and they like a little fish, they like a little dashing bush right there, they're white Porsche. They want to see a needy flour and make the bake and the bread and the sada. That is tourism. That is the real deal. That is authentic tourism. And that M to M has been shelved, scorned, frowned upon by successive governments. And I'm suggesting to you today that the ILP is committed. And let me tell you, I went a step further, Mr. Warner. I didn't tell you, I went a step further because I don't joke. You see, that place, because of its history, one, and two, because of the role that it's playing ecologically, that space can be considered a protected space by the United Nations. Because if the leatherback turtles are endangered, and they are, and if 25,000 turtles are coming to Matura, to Maklot every year, then the United Nations, they have an interest, the same type of interest that they have in Brazil and the Amazon, the same interest. And one of the individuals at the UN said to a good friend of mine now, what is wrong with you guys in Trinidad and Tobago? Huh? I swear to God. So what is wrong with you? You guys have never applied to make that space protected? Really? And if you go to the interior, it will blow your mind. So I don't want to spend too much time on that, because I know right now the Prime Minister and Brent and they taking notes. But this is serious. And this guy said, why not protect that space? What happens when that space is protected, my sisters and my brothers, is that there are a number of downstream industries. Not only that, they give them money. They give you. They give you. And that has been frowned upon, slighted for years. Without a vision, the people perish. So, we're going to talk economics at another time. But secondly, we identify, my sisters and my brothers, but there's so much to talk about, and I don't want to take much time. I know my boss style, right, after that bombshell today. But let me tell you, we have identified, with poverty comes a number of problems. A number of problems. Yeah, your unemployment, sickness, and diseases, and so on. And we have identified that there are walking time bombs in Sangre Grande. They are walking dead. Because their blood pressure is out of control. In order for someone to have their BP taken, they need to go and pay, how much is it, Kennedy? $7 or $8? Yeah. $7 or $8 in a pharmacy to choke your hand to determine your BP. And we have determined that throughout the poorest region of Sangre Grande, we are going to ensure that there are BP machines and kits for free. For free. For free. So that folks can go and determine, their health. That's another thing. Agriculture, big on the agenda, huge on the agenda. I don't even know if I should get into that, but there is a very serious issue that took place with the ADB a couple of years ago, and the beneficiaries or the benefactors of this initiative has been two powerful individuals in the People's Partnership government, Gohinja Das Tiwari and the good old Ganga Singh. And my understanding, Mr. Warner, is that the initiative by the ADB was for this particular posh space now to have simple, modest homes, and they would simply plant the backyards and so on, and get involved in agriculture. The relationship was supposed to be living and agricultural accommodation. But guess what? In that space today, there are multi-million-dollar houses with swimming pools, and this guy plants a pimento.
Wow.
Not a pimento, but the bay. And today, farmers in this constituency are not given an opportunity to build a space where they can look after their crops to prevent pleonasm. So we have some way to go, my sisters and my brothers, but we can do it. We can do it. I got involved in this thing not in a flippant, casual manner. Everything that I did, everything that I studied in my life pointed to this constituency. This constituency. And might I tell you that I'm the only candidate who lives in this constituency. Significant. Very, very significant. So I'm saying to you tonight, there's so much that I can say, so much more that I want to say, but I'm out of time, but not out of things to say. Mr. Warner is here, all right? And as we progress, as we go forward, I will tell you about a company that has collected some $80 million to transport the red steel. What? Does that even make sense? Does that even make sense? When Pastor Quillen already just said to you that over 4,000 pounds of rice, and there's dish up fast, you know. Dish up fast. Poverty in this constituency. It's bad. $80 million for a company to transport the red steel. From where? Where they really living, eh? Timbuktu. Where they coming from? Yeah, but that's the country that we live in. Just last week, I think it was Sunday, Mr. Warner. Huge clash up on the coast, cricket competition. So government candidate and opposition candidate, other than Dave France, I was in church. They ain't going there. Clash, huge cuss out. You know? Folks jockeying for breathing space. For what? To bleed the treasury. Look, I ain't going there. Yo, September 2nd. Yeah? September 2nd.
Let's hear for